cruelty and take her rightful place as the heir of House Workstadt. But the entire room goes quiet when Aetlier instantly refuses to go. Dennis asks her what is wrong, and she says she does not want to return to that life as the painful memories from her past repeat in her mind. While she hugs Dennis even tighter, Stevens tries to talk her out of working in a restaurant meant for peasants, which makes Dennis furious for a second. But after thinking about it, he realizes Stevens has a point that he is just a humble chef while she is practically a princess. With that in mind, he gently asks Aetlier again if she really does not want to go, and she shyly nods. Still, Dennis tells her she cannot ignore something that will seriously affect her future, because eventually, she will have to face it. After hearing that, Aetlier bravely agrees to go if Dennis comes with her, which makes him feel proud. A few hours later, Vivia shows up wearing a fancy Sherlock Holmes-style outfit and excitedly asks Dennis, who is all suited and booted, if he can tag along. Dennis agrees, and the girls promise they will handle things at the restaurant. Right then, Aetlier walks out in a blue dress, and everyone fawns over how adorable she looks. Dennis says it is time to leave, but Aetlier quietly says she does not want to go, even though she knows she must, and then starts repeating non-stop that she really does not want to go, which makes Dennis proud because that is the longest sentence she has said all month. While he pats her on the head and assures her he is always by her side, Stevens asks the young lady if she and her servants are ready, which really gets on Dennis's nerves even though he knows he is beneath her in status. With that, they depart, and the girls cheerfully wish them a safe journey. After traveling a long distance by carriage, they finally arrive at the capital, and Vivia looks out the window, staring at the city like a kid from the boonies. Meanwhile, Dennis feels uneasy being back in the capital, but Vivia snaps him out of it just as they pass by Black's restaurant, which is known as the best in the royal capital. And although Dennis wants to stop by and greet his old friend, he feels like he can no longer face him. Later, they arrive at House Workstadt, where the legal officer welcomes them and introduces himself as the head of their case, and Dennis introduces himself as Aetlier's guardian. After that, they head inside, where Cestopich explains he will need to test the young lady's blood. Aetlier nearly collapses on the spot when she sees the syringe in Stevens' hand. As it gets closer, she keeps saying it is too scary, like a broken record, and the second it pricks her arm, she flops like a balloon that lost all its air. While Dennis carries her in his arms, Cestopich says they will head to the courtroom next. But Dennis dumps her into Vivia's arms and tells the lawyer he wants to understand her situation better to see how he can help her. Cestopich agrees and explains that her father, Sir Famas, was an expert in hypnosis magic, and that some unique types of magic only pass down through bloodlines. Hearing that, Dennis realizes Aetlier inherited the same power to control minds, and Cestopich continues that her father saved many lives using his gift, but his brother poisoned him out of jealousy to steal his beautiful wife and his position as the head. At the same time, he falsely labeled the young lady as an illegitimate child to ruin her reputation so badly that she could never recover. However, Sir Famas was clever, and he left a will, which is why the royal court has allowed a blood test using a magical item to prove her status as the true heir. Then, the man puts a drop of her blood into the magical globe first, then adds a drop of Sir Famas's blood, which the royal court kept safe this whole time, and explains that the flower-shaped crystal forming inside is proof that they are related by blood. After that, he repeats the test using her mother, Eliza's blood, and the result is the same, confirming that Aetlier is undoubtedly their daughter. Seeing this solid proof makes both Dennis and Vivia happy, but Aetlier still looks sad. Later in court, the judge begins the proceedings in the presence of both parties, and Aetlier's uncle, Sir Joseph, immediately starts throwing shade at Dennis. Dennis remembers that Sir Joseph is one of Captain Vigo's clients and tells the man he will pay for messing with his little girl. Just then, the judge warns Dennis while calling him Dennis Blacks, and Vivia notes the famous name. After that, the proceedings begin and the judge reads out Sir Famas's will, which states that Lady Aetlier is the true heir of the family, born from his wife, so she is the one meant to inherit his wealth and power, while his brother Sir Joseph will only receive the family's books and secret knowledge. Then, a fat noble stands up and agrees that she is Sir Famas's daughter, but says she is not worthy of becoming the heir because her mother was just a low-ranking mistress. Right after that, Cestopich snaps back that this kind of nonsense is exactly why everyone is gathered here to draw the young lady's blood and present clear proof so no one can challenge the will. But Sir Joseph just smirks confidently and calls it a waste of time, which makes Dennis furious. With that said, the big doctor approaches Aetlier, terrifying her so much that she tightly grabs Dennis's sleeve, and he gently comforts her while the doctor draws her blood. After that, the judge tells everyone to pick a stick from the jar to decide who will use the magic item, which helps prevent any tampering. Staring at the jar intensely, Dennis pulls out the first stick, but it is not the red one. Then, everyone takes their turn one by one, and it turns out that Stevens is chosen. Next, the old butler starts sweating nervously and shaking as he walks up the stairs. He puts Aetlier's blood in first, then adds her father's blood, and the crystal confirms a match. Dennis sighs in relief, but when Stevens adds her mother, Eliza's blood, the crystal only forms for a second before it melts into a dark goop. Everyone in the room is stunned while Sir Joseph smugly says he told them it would be a waste of time, and Cestopich insists there must have been a mistake, so he makes a request to repeat the test. But the judge says no. Sir Joseph declares this proves Aetlier's birth was a mistake made by his brother, which makes her feel terrible. Then, the judge rules that the will is only half true, so Sir Joseph will inherit the wealth and power of House Werkstatt, while Aetlier may inherit the books and magical knowledge. Hearing that, Sir Joseph smirks and says he does not mind agreeing, because the disgrace to their family is still the daughter of his brother. At that moment, Dennis notices that Stevens has been secretly holding a cloth over a wound, and slams the table before grabbing him by the collar, revealing that the old man used his own blood to fake the test. The butler chokes as he confesses that Lord Joseph promised to make him head butler again if he did the dirty work, so Dennis punishes him with fire magic and drops him. Seeing that, the judge tells him to stop disrespecting the law, but Dennis yells that the real ones showing disrespect are the filthy criminals who rigged the lottery, faked the blood test, and had the nerve to torture an innocent girl after everything she has already been through. As the guards storm in, Dennis gets fired up and declares he will turn the fools who hurt Aetlier into ashes. That scares even the guards, but when they attack on Sir Joseph's orders, Dennis offers to show them what hell looks like. However, Vivia tries to stop him by asking who will take care of Aetlier if he becomes an enemy of the whole kingdom. Hearing that, he instantly calms down and looks over at her frightened face. After the hearing ends, Cestopich tells Dennis that the case was dismissed, and Dennis regrets the mistake of bringing Aetlier along in the first place. Then, he takes them to the library to see the knowledge and books she inherited. Inside, he explains it used to be a library, but now it is more of a storage room, though there might still be something valuable left behind. Dennis steps over a broken plank and warns Aetlier to watch her step right before she steps on a magic circle and falls into the basement. Below the surface, he discovers a hidden room filled with mountains of books, and the moment Vivia and Cestopich start reading, they realize the place holds ancient tomes and grimoires so rare that they are practically national treasures. Picking up 2 more books, he explains that the lost history of humanity is packed inside this hidden room. At that moment, Cestopich wonders aloud if her father planned to give this true treasure to Aetlier from the start, leaving the will and predicting that his greedy brother will try to steal it from her. Dennis laughs at the irony and asks Aetlier what she wants to do with it, and the little champ says she wants to give it all to the restaurant. The next morning, Dennis is tired of waiting for Vivia, who overslept, but on his way out, he passes by a man who forces him to stop because he has the same face as Dennis, but his aura feels completely different. Dennis yells for Vivia to hurry, and the man in front of him says that it's a nice name before letting Vivia go. Just then, a girl named Fiorenza walks up to the man in the shadows, calling him Master Heath, and asks who that boy was, and Heath tells her that he was the companion of a counterpart that he told her about before. A few days later, Bockel guides the huge line of people outside Dennis's restaurant, and while Henrietta and Vivia enjoy his cooking like always, they note things have gotten quite busy ever since word spread about the books Aetlier inherited. The customers amazed by the legendary books get really loud, so Dennis yells at them to get out if they are done eating because he isn't running a library. While he gets back to cooking, a man in a turban asks him for a favor, saying he needs one of the books because it contains the cure to his wife's illness. Hearing that, Dennis simply tells Aetlier that the guy needs help, and the cute maid says she will make an exception just this once. Out of nowhere, the others also ask if they can borrow as well, but Dennis scares them away. Kneeling before the young lady, the man thanks Aetlier for the favor and quickly runs out of the restaurant. Dennis sees more customers coming in and starts cooking at max speed with his magic, making Vivia worried he will overwork himself. but Dennis thinks he needs it to keep up with demand and finishes an entire table worth of food in a couple of seconds, which amazes Atelier. Later, he flashes back to the time when he was alone in the streets, his toes freezing in the cold rain. At that moment, he saw a lady passing by drop a wallet, but instead of stealing it, he went up to the lady and returned it. The lady was surprised he was returning it even though he needed it more than her, and after hearing his innocent reply, she took him back to her place, where he was shocked at being served delicious food at a table. The moment he took a bite, his sadness vanished along with his dull life, and he became really happy at how amazing it tasted. The lady's smiling face and her warm touch are the last things he remembers before he slowly opens his eyes, lying in bed with a high fever. He sees everyone looking at him with a worried face as they tell him he fainted all of a sudden. He tries to get up like it is nothing because he is worried about the restaurant. But when he sees Atelier's worried face and Bacchel tells him she already closed for the day, he lies back down and says sorry. Looking at Atelier's sad expression, he asks what is wrong, and Vivia explains she was worried he caught a dangerous